Savage on Wheels, Mark Savage here. Car this time around is a new Corvette. This is the C8, and you know, for over 65 years the Corvette has been pretty much all the same as far as the front engine. The layout's the same. A lot of it looked pretty similar too. They didn't change it a whole lot over the last 20 years or so, but now this new C8, totally new and different. The nose looks like a Corvette. I think this still reminds you of a Corvette, but Paul and I are going to show you this thing's got an engine in the back now behind the seat, and this is the first what they would call mid-engine Corvette. So here's where we keep the big 6.2 liter V8 that they've wedged into the back of this thing. You can see it's got Corvette header on the top of it here. And we can't imagine anybody working on this unless you get it up on a rack. But still, a lot of power, 495 horsepower, about 470 foot-pounds of torque, and it sounds great. And the car looks terrific. And what I always find interesting is how they design things into it. Doorknob, oh well, there's a little button under here, into this, boom, open it up. About 400 bucks extra for the orange seat belts, but you know, I would like that because it goes right with the car. It's a beautiful car. You got a steering wheel that has the squared off tops and bottoms, a lot easier for in and out, and just it's a lot easier to hold actually. You know, the nice thing about this whole process too, or this whole Corvette too, is that you can, it's not a convertible, but you can take the top off, kind of the old T-top type thing. 2 latches in front like a convertible, 1 in the back, pop those and boom, away we go. Here we go, lift it up, and we can put this away somewhere else, but look at this. Now we can get right into the car. You got a little sunshine coming in. Beautiful interior, a lot of black leather in here. And the other interesting thing here, I'm sure Paul will show you, is look at how they've got the buttons all laid out here. The heated seat, cooled seat, temperature, and so forth. This is real easy for the driver to get at, and it kind of looks really cool. One thing we've noticed for the passenger, a little bit tougher, especially if you're up close. It's really kind of hard to reach and grab these things, so it's more of a driver's design for it here. Obviously, park, reverse, neutral, drive, little toggles here that you pull on that. This is your drive mode, so you can set it for track or sport or touring, depending on what you're going to be doing with it. And kind of some cool little levers here for the air vents. So we got the C8 out for the highway run here. Gonna get on an entry ramp and just see what this will do. Obviously, engine behind us, rear wheel drive, gonna be pushing us up the ramp. It should go pretty well. Sounds like it means business. They tell us 495 horsepower, and let's see here. I saw 98, Paul. What did you see?
I saw 99.
Okay, good. We did have to watch. We are getting on the highway. We're trying to be responsible citizens here and see, not run into somebody when we get on the road. But obviously, it'll hustle up to, let's say, 100 mile an hour pretty quickly down the entry ramp, which, if you watched our last video, we had a BMW M8 competition convertible, and it did basically the same thing. It had 617 horsepower. This has 498, or 495, I'm sorry. So very similar performance anyway, but this one cost you a little bit less than that BMW, which was wonderful. It was 180,000. This is roughly 80,000. We're driving the back roads of Wisconsin right now in the new Corvette, and you know, we've checked out the handling. We've been on some winding roads, and got it on the touring setting right now. You see, it's got a real nice light feel to it. It's really very easy to control. We're going to dial it up a couple notches here. It goes to sport and into track. And on the track mode, I don't know if Paul, you can see this here, but when I turn the wheel now, I mean, it is super tight, and we're ready to go racing. And you can hear our engine sounds a little more like it means more business now. And again, the car handles great, considering you know, that this is not the most expensive Corvette nor the most expensive sports car out there. What I like is the value. Is if it's 60 grand to start and this one's almost 80, still for the horsepower you get and for the handling you get, and the fact that I can dial it in, and there's even a snow setting here to help you set, to get out on the roads if it's really sloppy. I mean, it's just amazing to me that you can get that much for the price that this car is. And again, handling is great, and the ride, while stiff, especially here on the track mode, and we'll go back, we'll tile this back in. But when you get onto the touring mode, it's still stiff and a sports car like, but it's not punishing, it's not painful, it's not like some cars where you just feel like you're gonna get beat to death. Obviously, this is not just a standard Corvette, but it's got a number of packages on it that really add value to it, but also adds to the price tag. So it starts with a 2LT package that's $7,300. That includes things like the fancy Bose stereo, a heads-up display, a rear camera mirror, which is something more and more of the cars are getting now, heated steering wheel, power side bolsters on the seats, a blind spot alert, and cross traffic alert, which I think those all should be standard on any car these days, and then a premium infotainment system and navigation system. So that you do get quite a lot. Still, some of that I think should probably come standard on here. And then the other package that I think probably more people will be interested in, just as far as performance goes, is the performance package. It's the Z51 performance package for $5,000, and that gives you a special performance brakes, suspension system, exhaust, rear axle, the limited slip diff, and the high performance run flat tires. And say, well, what are the brakes like? Well, these have 13.6 inch vented front disc, 13.8 inch vented rear disc, with the 4 piston calipers. Now, I think the last car we had, Paul, that the BMW had 6 piston calipers.
Right, yeah.
But it was $100,000 more. So I don't know if you need a couple more pistons in your calipers. Maybe that's worth it. Otherwise, pretty spectacular car. The car and driver tells us it'll do 184 for a top speed. I mean, I think that's about what we need most of the time when we get on the highway, right, Paul?
Yep.
All right, so maybe this is the car we do need to have all the time.
I'm on board with that.
All right, sounds great.